The best business book I ever read wasn't written by Peter Drucker, Jim Collins, or Elon Musk. It was written by King Solomon 3,000 years ago. It's called Proverbs. Proverbs 21:5 says, "The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty." Or listen to Proverbs 15:22, "Plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors they succeed." Solomon drops more business wisdom in a single chapter than most bestsellers do in 300 pages. And I've lived this out personally. I think every successful deal I've done came down to diligence and wise counsel. Not luck, not charisma, steady, patient diligence. When I bought my first few real estate properties, I wasn't flashy. I wasn't flipping for fast money. I was patient, consistent, and that compounded over time into nearly 50 properties, I think 47 right now. Proverbs predicted it. Commercial real estate, residential real estate, just slowly building a portfolio. On the flip side, you've probably watched people chase shortcuts. We've all probably known that guy who jumped into real estate without planning, without counsel, leveraged to the hilt. He looked successful for a while. Fancy car, nice suits. 2 years later, bankruptcy. Proverbs 21:5 in action. Haste leads to poverty. So some of the things we're going to look at today is, for instance, that diligence beats luck, or that counsel prevents collapse, or that character outperforms charisma. Proverbs makes a bold claim that might seem counterintuitive in today's cutthroat business world. Integrity is your greatest competitive advantage. Consider Proverbs 11:3. "The integrity of the upright guides them, but the unfaithful are destroyed by their duplicity." This isn't just moral teaching, it's a business prediction. Companies built on integrity create trust, and trust is the currency of all sustainable business. When customers trust you, they become repeat buyers. When employees trust you, they become loyal team members. When investors trust you, they provide patient capital. We sometimes even talk about the trust economy, right? Proverbs 22:1 states, "A good name is more desirable than great riches. To be esteemed is better than silver or gold." In our modern economy, this translates directly to brand value. Consider how companies like Patagonia or Chick-fil-A have built billion-dollar enterprises primarily on trust and reputation. Your reputation is your most valuable asset because it compounds over time. Every honest deal, every kept promise, every ethical decision adds to your reputational capital. Proverbs predicts that those who prioritize their good name will ultimately outperform those who chase quick profits at the expense of integrity. So let's talk about the diligence principle. You could think of it as work as worship. I mean, even excellence in execution, if you've read about that in business books. Proverbs 22:29 asks, "Do you see someone skilled in their work? They will serve before kings. They will not serve before officials of low rank." This verse predicts that excellence leads to elevation. In business terms, mastery of your craft opens doors that connections and capital can't. The principle here is profound. When you become exceptionally good at what you do, opportunities seek you out rather than the other way around. This is why specialists often out-earn generalists, and why companies that focus on doing one thing exceptionally well often dominate their markets. I mean, think about NVIDIA right now. I mean, they do primarily one thing, but they do it incredibly well. There's a compound effect of consistency. Proverbs repeatedly emphasizes diligence over brilliance. Lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth. That's Proverbs 10:4. This isn't about working harder, it's about working consistently over time. Business success rarely comes from one brilliant move. Instead, it comes from thousands of small, consistent actions compounded over years. Proverbs predicts that the tortoise beats the hare not through speed, but through steady, persistent progress. What about the diversification principle? Long before modern portfolio theory, Proverbs 11:18 advised diversification. "Cast your bread upon the waters, for after many days you will find it again." This ancient wisdom predicts that every successful investor already knows. Spreading risk leads to more stable returns. But Proverbs takes this further, suggesting diversification not just in investments, but in relationships, in skills, and revenue streams. The prediction is clear. Those who build multiple pillars of support weather storms better than those who put all their eggs in one basket. How about the idea of generosity as investment? It's perhaps the most counterintuitive prediction in Proverbs that concerns this generosity. Proverbs 11:24, one person gives freely yet gains even more, another withholds unduly but comes to poverty. This seems to defy basic math. How can giving lead to gaining? Yet modern business proves this principle daily. Companies that invest in their communities build loyal customer bases. Leaders who invest in their people build high-performing teams. Entrepreneurs who share knowledge freely often become industry thought leaders. Proverbs predicts that generosity creates a positive feedback loop that ultimately benefits the giver. How about the power of prudent speech? Proverbs 18:21 declares, "The tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruits." In business, this translates directly to the power of communication. Your words can close deals or destroy them, build teams or break them down, create vision or sow confusion. The prediction here is precise. Those who master communication will outperform those who don't, regardless of your technical skill. This is why great leaders are almost always great communicators, and why companies invest billions in marketing and messaging. There really is a listening advantage, right? To answer before listening, that is folly and shame, Proverbs 18:13. Proverbs predicts that listeners will outperform talkers in business. Why? Because listening gives you an information advantage. The best negotiators listen more than they speak. The best leaders understand their team's needs. The best entrepreneurs identify unmet market needs by listening to customers. There's also a power of planning, and Proverbs talks about that in Proverbs 21:5. The plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty. This prediction has proven true across every industry. Strategic planning outperforms reactive decision-making. But Proverbs adds nuance. It's not just planning, but diligent planning that leads to profit. This means thoughtful, detailed, realistic planning that accounts for contingencies. It means building systems that can scale rather than just solving today's problems. Proverbs frequently emphasizes the power of wise counsel and collaboration, the importance of teams. Plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed, Proverbs 15:22. This predicts what every successful entrepreneur eventually learns. You can't build a great company alone. The businesses that scale successfully are those that build strong teams, seek diverse perspectives, and create cultures of collaboration. Proverbs predicts that the lone wolf entrepreneur will eventually hit a ceiling that only teamwork can break through. How about navigating challenges and setbacks? Proverbs talks about that too. Though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again, Proverbs 24:16. This prediction is particularly relevant for entrepreneurs, where failure is often a prerequisite for success. You've been there, right? But notice the qualifier. It's the righteous who rise again. Proverbs is suggesting that resilience isn't just about grit. It's about having a foundation strong enough to rebuild on. When your business is built on ethical principles, strong relationships, and genuine value creation, setbacks become setups for a comeback. How about learning from failure? Proverbs doesn't promise a path without obstacles. Instead, it predicts that those who learn from correction will ultimately succeed. Whoever heeds life-giving correction will be at home among the wise, Proverbs 15:31. In business terms, this means embracing feedback, learning from failure, and constantly iterating. The companies that dominate their industries are rarely those that got it right the first time. They're those that learned fastest from what went wrong. What about purpose over profit, or moving beyond the bottom line, right? Perhaps the most profound prediction in Proverbs is that businesses built solely for profit will ultimately fail to satisfy. Whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income. That's Ecclesiastes 5 verse 10, echoing the wisdom of Proverbs. This predicts what many successful entrepreneurs discover. Financial success alone feels really hollow. The businesses that create lasting impact and satisfaction are aligned with a purpose beyond profit. They solve real problems, they serve real needs, and they create real value for others. Proverbs encourages thinking beyond quarterly earnings to generational impact. A good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children. Proverbs 13:22. This isn't just about money, it's about building something that lasts. The prediction is clear. Businesses built for legacy outperform those built for exit. When you're building something to last generations, you make different decisions about culture, quality, and stakeholder relationships. Practical application. This could be like your Proverbs business audit. Let's make this practical as we try to apply Proverbs predictions to your business. Let's start with this way, with a character audit. Is your business built on integrity, or are there compromises you need to address? What would happen if all your business dealings became public tomorrow? Would you be fine with that? Are you building trust with every interaction? How about an excellence audit? What skill could you develop that would make you irreplaceable in your industry? Where are you settling for good enough when excellence is actually possible and within your reach? How can you build systems for consistent execution to help make you excellent? How about a relationship audit? Who are your advisors? And do they tell you hard truths, or do they just butter you up? Are you investing in your team's growth? How are you serving your community? What about a purpose audit? Why does your business exist beyond making money? What problem are you uniquely positioned to solve? What legacy do you want to leave? The book of Proverbs doesn't promise easy success or quick riches. Instead, it predicts that those who build their businesses on wisdom, integrity, diligence, and purpose will create lasting success that satisfies both the builder and those that they serve. These aren't just ancient platitudes, are they? They're proven principles that predict business outcomes with remarkable accuracy. In a world obsessed with the latest trends and tactics, Proverbs reminds you and me that the fundamentals haven't changed. Character still counts. Excellence still elevates. Wisdom still wins. And if you've been in business for any length of time, you know that that's true. As you build your business, remember that Proverbs isn't prescribing a formula. It's revealing patterns about the way God's made the world. These patterns have predicted success for thousands of years, and they'll continue to do so for thousands more. The question isn't whether these principles work, it's whether you'll have the wisdom to apply them. Your business journey is unique, but the principles that predict success are universal. Build on the foundation of wisdom that Proverbs provides, and you'll be amazed that it not only succeeds, but satisfies. Because in the end, true success isn't just about what you achieve, it's about who you become in the process. Remember one of the most famous passages from Proverbs, Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths, or he will make your paths straight. This is perhaps the ultimate prediction, that when we align our business with divine wisdom, we find not just success, but significance. So what are you going to do about it, right? Can you go out and build with wisdom? The principles are ancient, but their application is as fresh as tomorrow's opportunities. Your business success story is waiting to be written, and Proverbs has already given you the outline. I hope this video was helpful. If so, consider subscribing to the channel, give me a thumbs up, share it with a friend. Thanks so much for your time and attention, and I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful day.